Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you. And I got a co-host you all recognize, Lady Spellbreaker Heather. Thank you for coming and filling in while Hawkeye is in recovery mode.
Thank you.
Yes, no, I thank you for saving the day. He is out. Everybody, he is doing well. I have talked to him today personally, and hopefully he may try to call in tonight. So be ready for that. Be on the edge of your seats because we're going to have another great night in the Milky Way and talking about Native Americans. And as we usually always do, we're going to talk about some good stuff and have a little bit of perspective from Heather. Thank you. You sent me some stuff tonight about the Iroquois prophecy, and I'm going to put that up here in a minute or two as we welcome everybody in. And, we're going to, I think there is a lot of prophecy. There's a lot of things that the different tribes have prophesied. I think I got multiple books about myths and tales, and those are things that may have happened in the past, which are crazy fantastic. But as we all know, history always repeats itself, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it does.
So if those tales got told back in the day, maybe that's actually a prophecy in itself, don't you think?
Yeah. And I actually just sent you the one I read because there's many articles on that Iroquois prophecy. And it's actually pronounced Iroquois.
Oh, really?
OIS sounds like qua. And actually it was a Canadian woman that taught me that. And she was about the Cree, because the Iroquois are the Cree, the first 5-6 nations of the United States.
Oh yeah.
And Cherokee is even derived from Iroquois.
Mm-hmm.
So the Cherokee language was originally Iroquoian.
Yep.
I'm the only state with Iroquois County in Illinois.
As the eastern side, we had the bands that they were all together. The 5 nations turned into the 6 nations. They all, believe it or not, even though they were all together, they warred among themselves, which was still kind of crazy. I'm going to see if I can pull up a map. I think I may have a map here somewhere of it. But yeah, they would war among themselves. And then I think that's what got them in a lot of trouble, because even though they banded together, and we've talked a little bit about this before on my show, how our government is literally set up in the same fashion as they had. They would meet, each tribe had a representative. They would, the men would meet, they would talk, they would sit around in a certain spot, and they didn't war at that time. The women would talk, they would meet up and talk about their problems. The men would talk about their problem, and then they'd go their own way, and then they would still war among themselves. But I think that was I think that's just the culture that they had at the time. I mean, it was one of those where you would gain, because the Indians were all about bravery, courage, counting coup. I'll steal something from this guy, and then he'll come steal something from me, and blah, 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 and back and forth. And that was how, you could, prove your braveness by like stealing a horse, or maybe going in their village and, seeing how close you could get to these guys without getting killed.
Yeah.
Kind of silly, but
absolutely.
If I can just find
the United States Constitution is founded on the Iroquois Confederacy.
Yes, they set our government up as just like their government was, well, Thomas Jefferson really admired the Indians.
Yes.
I'm still trying to find a Cheyenne Cherokee. Here we go. I didn't know if I have this one or not. Nope, that ain't it. I was hoping I could find a map. Oh well, I got a lot of stuff. It's just finding the right one. You were talking about a map. I'd have probably been faster Googling it.
Yeah, well, that Iroquois, it's crazy because that Iroquois prophecy has crystal grids where they have prayed over, I was telling you, the magma chamber of Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting because that's exactly where Dutch since found some Native American carvings that they might not have known about, and it was live on YouTube when he found it. But I literally found that red bullseye that's on there a while back, and I said, whoa, this is right where a Native American gave me a buffalo horn. He was a homeless man in California, and he told me he didn't know what it was going to be used for, but that it was important. And he was actually a Nez Perce Native American, and that's what that circle is. It's a Crystal Mountain medicine wheel.
Okay, I'm going to pull this.
Go ahead. They're all over.
Yeah. I'm going to pull this up. See if I can find it. This is the Earth Mother crying.
Yeah, and do you see that map up above? It's like above her.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, that's
there
what
we go.
I'm referring to. Because I was kind of blown away about that. Apparently, it's like a medicine wheel, and they do that even when they're clearing land.
Yeah.
I started doing that after the ayahuasca retreat. I literally was led to Santa Cruz, California on 11/11. It was the month of November because I went to the ayahuasca retreat in October. I was led back to Santa Cruz on 11/11. I did a prayer for healing all past trauma for anybody who had been tortured or burned at the stake and awakening the divine feminine on 11/11 of 2015, which was 11. And I made a circle like that.
Wow. Yeah, we'll have to get back to this. I see David's popping in. Okay. There you go. You can't miss the show, and you gotta be here for this. Oh, I'm glad to see you're up and alive and moving with the rest of us.
Yeah, I would have been here earlier, but nurses were in here doing the checkup. I'm hooked up with all kinds of devices and and machines here. They got me beeping in places I forgot I could beep.
Wow.
So how are you all tonight? My love and the graciousness for all the people who have sent me prayers. And today was an emergency that just sort of happened at sunrise. And it was because I didn't have one of my medicines, a metaportal kind of thing, which regulates how fast the heart beats. And when I got to the hospital today, my heart rate was 185 beats per minute. It was about to jump out of my chest. So they immediately, within 2 minutes, I was back in, and they had started IVs and things. So some folks could argue about the Moultrie Hospital and South Georgia and all this rule. You don't get good care from people, and that's, in my humble opinion, that's just not true. You don't have to go to a big town or a city to get a decent hospital, because I've got friends of mine who have had issues and they haven't gotten near the care that I have. So I am very blessed, all you all out there who are sending me prayers, these wonderful nurses and doctors. They're absolutely wonderful. Small town, can we go there? What happens in a small town? Small town people take care of each other, in the hospital, out of the hospital. But anyway, so my medicine, the lack of one of my medicines that didn't get refilled is the reason I'm in here tonight. They've got me stable. My BP is good. Well, actually, it's a little high, but my heart rate is down to like it finally dropped below 70.
Mhm.
Thank you, Jesus. But I wish I had a story to tell you. I was trying to think of one earlier, and all I could think of was I don't know if I got enough battery power to tell a whole story.
You are the story tonight. You are the story.
Yeah, come on. I know there are better things. And what were you talking about just a minute ago about the medicine wheels? I missed that.
Heather,
I
go
was
ahead.
talking about the Iroquois prophecy medicine wheel. The link. Did we put the link in the chat? I should put it in there, Robert.
I can do that. Here you go. Oh, wait a minute. Wrong one here.
It's
There we go.
yeah, there it is.
There
And
it is.
that's the Iroquois prophecy from a website called Earth Mother Crying. And the Iroquois and the Cherokee are directly related because the Cherokee language comes from Iroquois.
Mm-hmm.
That I found while I was hunting for some Iroquois prophecy stuff a while back.
Wow. Yeah.
So where is that? Where is that located? Because I got a little tiny screen here, y'all.
Idaho. It looks like it comes out of Idaho, Boise.
Yep.
A little bit higher than north of Boise there. So
It's a little over the magma chamber of Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, the reason I asked it coming in late is because on my channel I've talked about and given some instructions about doing medicine wheels before, and I'm hoping that I can actually get one set up at my house. But the issue with setting them up is you got to mow around them. You know, you put them out in the field and the grass grows up, you got to mow around them. And so that can be kind of tricky. So I'm trying to find a spot that I don't have to mow too often, you know, and it can stay there. But yeah, that looks very interesting. It looks slightly aligned north and south.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, if it's been there a long time, you know, depending on how the Earth is, you know, the Earth's poles they do move. You know, I mean, as they're moving now. I mean, we've, you know what I mean? They're
Oh
moving.
yeah, we're wobbling all over the place. Absolutely, on a daily basis we are wobbling. Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, at one point in time, that could be, and at some point in time, it may be pointing the other way. So, who knows? I'm not quite sure.
Well, the other thing is that there are 6 pieces of pie versus 4 sections on what I would consider a traditional medicine wheel.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, that is
Did
true.
you notice that?
No, I didn't notice that. Yeah, huh? Well, I learned something now.
If those sections, you know, the red lines that I can barely see, I don't know where my glasses are, but if those are supposedly the north, south, east, west meridian lines thingy for a medicine wheel, I wonder what that third line's for. Just curious.
That is a good question. That is a good question.
Okay, and it's up to your. Okay, tell us what the prophecy says.
Well,
Yeah.
actually,
I'm gonna put it on you. I'm joking and kidding, but actually serious. Like, why would that extra line be there? Is that a meridian line? Is it a Anyway, I'll shut up.
It's going to, from what I can see, except for one of them doesn't go to the city. The other from Florida, Mayfield, and Walla Walla, Washington to Highway 93.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you got to remember this is quite big because you're talking. It's in Oregon because Walla Walla is in Oregon, and then it goes all the way over to Missoula, which is in Montana, and then all the way down to into Boise, which is is in Idaho. So it covers, you're talking a large spot covering 3 states. Now, did you know that? I don't know if you ever been to Idaho. Have you ever been to Idaho?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if you drive in on that 84, somewhere down there, you go through the lava fields. Did you know that? You ever go?
No.
Yeah, you go through.
I went across further north. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I went there. I went to go buy an old car to add to my collection. And as I was driving through, I was like, wow, there ain't much out here. Just some little pine trees, cedar trees here and there, and it was pretty barren. And I stopped at a rest area, and it explained that 4,000 years ago, the lava came out of the ground here for miles and miles and miles, and covered the earth. It just oozed out, and you could walk. Once you got out, you could see it's all black and everything. And the only thing that grows there is just some sparse grass and these pine trees and stuff. And it's really treacherous to walk across because that lava, the pumice is really rough and it's sharp and it cuts, and you know what I mean. So when the settlers were going across that area, they had a really rough time because, as you know, as lava is just not flat. And it's hard, like it's rock. So, you couldn't grow anything, nor could you travel over it very nice.
Yep. And if you were barefoot, like a lot of them settlers were, because they'd worn out their shoes by the time they got that far. And so it would have been very difficult to travel barefoot.
Yes, exactly. No,
well, I want to go back to the lines again. I know you stated that it was going from one city to another, and that's not what I meant. Mm-hmm. What I was looking at is just the composition of the wheel, mm-hmm. and the fact that there is to me, a third line versus just the cross in the middle of the circle. That's what I was more referring to, as to not necessarily where it's placed, but the fact that there's an extra line in there.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know the answer on that.
I didn't know, but in going through the different with the book of the medicine wheel, you've got the north and the south and the east and the west. Okay, so that's 4 points. The extra line adds 2 more points. So I'm just curious, you know how I am, Robert. I'm just crazy that way.
Yes. Oh no, it's a very good question. I wish I had an answer. That's what I said. That's a good one. I don't know. No, I really don't. But
and it doesn't say anything in it as far as the Iroquois and whatever, however they might have
Well, let's click on one of these things here and we'll see. Oh no, that ain't found. Go back, try this. Maybe it tells in here. Pipe ceremony, grandmother ceremony. No, I don't know. Is that her name? No idea what it means. Finish the ceremony. Well, let's talk about ceremony. Okay, where was it? Mother Earth crying. Maybe this is.
Well, while you're looking, let me just state this. In what I would consider the original medicine wheels with the 4 points and the circle, if you add an extra line, that's 2 extra points on the wheel, which really confuses all of the numbers. And you know how numbers are important to stuff. Yes. So you've got the factor of 4, and then you've got the factor of 8, and then the factor of 12 and 16. And, when you look at I'm saying the originals, medicine wheels, how they're set up. Yep. So that I'm curious but it would add extra numbers somehow. And I'm not saying that it's wrong or bad. I'm just saying whoever made that one, they must have extra information, because then that adds another number to the overall equation. Am I making sense at all?
You are making sense. You're making complete sense. I have no idea.
Oh, there we go.
It says medicine wheel on there, but I don't know that that's an actual medicine wheel, because I actually have a medicine wheel book, and that isn't even equally divided. If you look at it, 2 of the pieces of pie are way bigger than the other piece.
I saw that. I just didn't want to mention it. I thought me interrupting with the extra line was enough.
I don't know what happened there for me.
But anyway, so what would be your take on it then, if there was an extra?
I don't know. I even just tried to look up 6 points on the medicine wheel, because I have only read some of the prophecy. I haven't even read this entire website. There's a lot of information on here.
Well, here's the prophecy. According to the Mohawk prophecy of the 7th generation, 7 generations after contact with the Europeans, the Okawaniwi would see the day when the trees would die from the tops down. The prophecy said that strange animals would be born deformed and without the proper limbs. Huge stone monsters would tear open the face of the earth. The rivers would burn. The air would burn the eyes of man. According to the prophecy of the 7th generation of the Okawani, the real people, would see the time when the birds would fall from the sky. The fish would die in the water, and man would grow ashamed of the way that he treated his mother and provider, the earth. Finally, according to this prophecy, after 7 generations of living in close contact with the Europeans, the Okawaniwi would rise up and demand their rights and stewardship over the earth be respected and restored. According to the wisdom of this prophecy, men and women would one day turn the Okawaniwi and particularly to the eastern door of the Confederacy for both guidance and direction. It is up to the present generation of youth of the Mohawk to provide leadership and example to all who have failed. The children of the whatever, I can't say that one, the Mohawk, are the 7th generation. I'll just skip over the big words. David's the one who can pronounce all that stuff.
I fake it really good.
Yes, you do. I always seem to have a little bit of problem when it comes to that. Yeah.
Well, let me I'm curious as to, some of the things that have been prophesied have already been seen. We've seen birds fall out of the sky.
Oh yeah.
We have seen this. I mean, and I think we're to a point where the shaming of the youth is going to make them, in a few years, it ain't happening now, to where it's like, none of my family gives a crap whether I'm in the hospital or not. Grandchildren or whatever, yeah, okay, and so, but it's close friends and extended family is the reason I'm here and safe today. Mm-hmm. So our children in my lifetime, when my grandmother was sick and before she died, I went down as often as I could from Georgia to Tampa to go see her, because I knew my granny was dying and I want to be there. I'm pointing the camera at my nose. You want a better shot there? Anyway, they pumped me full of some meds before I got on here, let me tell you. So I'm a little wee, not necessarily high, but wee. But anyway, So, I was there just before my grandmother passed, and I watched her climbing into heaven. And she had a glow about her like an angel. And, but other people, they just, oh, well, he's sick. Oh, well, he's dying. Yeah, well, okay, we'll say a prayer for him. They wouldn't care about driving 20 miles to go see a relative before they pass or being really sick. And so there is an extreme difference from when I grew up. Of course, I'm 71 almost, to what it is now. People just don't care about the elderly like they used to. Let's go see grandma and let's go see grandpa. And who wants to do that? Who wants to stay in a car for an hour? Who wants to drive? Who wants to, all these excuses. But anyway, back to the well, that is part of the story. But yeah. Some of these things are already happening, and I'm curious as to whether or not in some of these prophecies, and you'd have to ask the person who had it, is this all going to happen like at one time? Or is it going to be a progression like we see already happening?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious. There've been some other prophecies and things. I think we're in the middle of it, personally.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing is with anything that goes on, we think it's going to happen overnight, but it always takes a long time to happen. It's really drawn out. It may even take generations, for whatever to happen. And then since it happens so slowly, most people don't even know it's happening until,
right.
And then we look back and go, oh yeah, think about it. Years ago, you tell somebody, all of us are old enough to know what a phone on the wall is that you would dial, right?
Yeah, a dial phone, and actually dial phone. A lot of folks nowadays, they remember the push button rotary phone. Yes, thank you. My Miss Amanda, my nurse. Are we ready?
No, you're good.
Just let me know, because all I got to do is sign off.
No, you're good. You're fine. I was just checking that headphone.
Okie doke.
Are you feeling better?
Oh, I'm feeling wee.
Feeling good now? I'll be back in here. You finish talking. It's our rush. I'll be back later.
Okay. Some very sweet people here at the hospital. Yeah, they're checking my bag here that's hanging beside me. But where were we? I forgot.
Well, we're talking about how things change so slowly, and
yeah.
We all know what a rotary phone is, but think of the generations that are coming out now, or even the last 10 years. They have no clue. They're looking in a museum and saying, "Oh my gosh, what was that thing?" What?
Yeah, and those of us who are old enough to remember party lines.
Yeah, I remember a party line. I remember getting yelled at for being on the party line too. Boy. So the thing is the bigger things happen, and we are just we are left with memories of our forefathers, and we have to depend on people who wrote things down in order to know what has happened. And that's what we do here. We study the history, the myths and the legends. Me and Heather were just talking about, before the show here, about myths and legends and how everything seems to happen over and over again. So even though those are myths and legends of a past event, that may be a future prophecy in the future, don't you think?
I would agree with that. How about you? Yeah. Look at the history that repeated itself just during the Indian insurrection. I mean, from 1700 to now, look at how many times they went in and wiped out a village. They went in and did a such and such. They went in and gave them blankets to kill them all. They, I was watching some Western the other day, and I couldn't watch it because Custer was talking about, they were having this argument about whether or not he was qualified to take care of the Indian territory, and the only good Indian is a dead Indian, and I just had to change the channel. But it was the fact that they were in this Western arguing about whether or not it was right to go massacre people, and he was like, "But they're all savages, of course we have the right." The Spaniards came over and invaded. And not only that, said Custer, how many Indian tribes took time and years warring against each other, but not like annihilation. They fought with other tribes and stuff, but it was rare that they went to the point of annihilation. And the white man wanted to annihilate all the Indians. There was a difference in thinking and strategy there. Well, but anyway,
what was the reason? I mean, we read plenty. I got plenty of those old books here, and we've read through them, and they literally call them savages, and they call them. I think they were terrified. The white man was terrified because they just didn't understand what they did, and what the Europeans were doing was actually very similar. It's just it seemed more civilized. It seemed more civilized to have a guillotine or hang somebody. And in the Indian culture, they would stake you out on an ant pile and or slit you open slowly and make you scream and yell. So what's the difference? Oh, one kills you really fast and one kills you really slow. It's more humane if we just chop your head off. Let's do it the European way. Or
I was watching a special about not just Genghis Khan, but of all the other Khans. And they were comparing like Genghis Khan to this Khan to that one and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Well, they all just, when they said they were going to conquer a people, they killed everybody.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah, that was
no matter who it was, whether it was children or old ladies, they didn't care. They killed everybody. And I was like, what? But, the Turks back in the day, the Muslims, and fighting against the other folks. Oh my God. The Templars and all. It was a fight to the death until no one was standing. And wow. With all the stories we've read and over the last almost 2 years now, I don't remember anybody's, any tribe or anybody saying we must destroy them all. We must destroy everything that even belonged to them. They went into the houses and pulled out pictures or whatever, household items, and burned them. So there was nothing left of the people at all. And I was like, whoa. But in thinking back on all of our stuff, I can't remember any of the tribes doing that or really actually wanting to do that.
Yeah. Most of it was, they were going to war with the other tribe and count coup and, bring back some spoils of the raid or whatever it was like that. But like we were talking about before you got on here about what were we talking about? The different tribes. What was that called? Heather, help me out here. The council, the thing our government was based on, right?
Confederacy.
The Confederacy. That's the word I'm looking for. I was like, it just escaped my mind.
United States Constitution. They actually have the Iroquois Great Law of Peace, which is what the country was founded upon.
Yeah. If they were so savage, this is my thought, is if they were so savage and they were so crazy and this and that, then why did we base our own government on theirs? You know, that's a
The Iroquois were one that actually gave women the right to speak. One of the big women leaders was Wilma Mankiller. And tell me how she got her name.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we read about her way back.
A woman who survived a lot of abuse and might have the name Wilma Mankiller.
Yeah.
She's a very famous Iroquois woman, and so they actually gave women the right. So actually, like when the patriarchy came over, they removed the Native American woman off of the penny. It was a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And they, like, slowly but surely, even religion all over the place has removed the woman. I've actually got, that's why my Lakota sister left the tribe. Because I've got like no more stolen sisters Native American shirts with the red handprint smacked across their face.
Yeah, they were very hard on the women.
Give me a minute.
The women really.
Hey y'all, I need to cash out because I need to take some blood and other stuff, and I want to save my battery.
Yes.
It's been great to come in here and share with y'all, and I miss being with you on my Tuesdays. And thank you so much for filling in for me there.
You are so welcome. We're so glad you're okay.
Yep, I'm doing better. I am. And and they're going to take some blood and do some more blood work. So I love you all and thank you so much. And with any luck, I'll be out of here the next day or two.
All right.
Yeah,
thank you. You get
thank you. Much love. Have a good evening, y'all.
Okay, thank you. Well, that was nice to hear from him.
Yes.
Now that Wilma Mankiller, she's a newer lady, or
she's written a lot of books actually. She's got she's got really good quotes. She's been discriminated more for being a woman than being a Native American.
She got on the quarter.
Yeah.
How about that? Okay, I pulled her up so everybody can see. Wow, how about that? Okay,
cool. That's George. Let me see. Hold on. Wilma Mankiller quarter. Let me go check it out.
Yeah, well, that's what I had there.
2022. A Wilma Mankiller uncirculated reverse. Good job, Robert.
There you go. Look at that.
Woo! 2022. We're bringing the women back. These men won't know how to act.
Well, I didn't even know that. I was like, this is new to me. I didn't realize that they made a quarter with her on it. Well, good deal. I mean, it's about time that sometimes that, these people get noticed for the things that they do. Let's see what she do. She was the first female principal chief of the Cherokee Nation.
Yes.
Wow. She was also the first woman elected as a chief. Wow. How about that?
Cherokee Nation 1977.
Interesting. I guess look at there. Some pictures of her. Well, this is why sometimes me and David, we get on certain subjects and we talk about stuff, but I thank you for coming on tonight and see you brought something new because I'd have never known this lady existed.
Oh, thank you, because now you just found a quarter. What happens, how spirit works. Mankiller received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1998, and that is the year my daughter was born.
Oh, really? Well, good deal.
And her birthday is on Saturday, actually, so she's guiding us.
Yeah, well, that's kind of telling you something, isn't it?
Yeah. She's always here. She ain't never going nowhere. That's a fact. She is here to guide and protect me until I leave this earth.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then see, and that's the thing too, is the people who cross over. I I think they are here. Our loved ones are here guiding us, and we just don't have, or, well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that because I know Lucky had told me that if I really wanted to, I would have to be quiet and listen because they want to talk. And most of us, I think we don't want to listen. Is that true?
I
Well,
think right on it.
yeah. And I thought about that a lot one day. And I think in a way, a little bit of me is a little bit scared to listen. And yet I think, oh, I'm so brave. I'll listen. But a little bit of me is saying, oh, I don't know, And the other part of me is saying, that'll never happen. And as long as I keep saying that in my head, it probably won't. But I gotta change my thinking. I gotta change my strategy and really, become different about it. I gotta change my thinking. That's what I gotta do. Really.
And it's really, here's the thing that I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
During this pandemic, so much has happened that we want to know what's going on around the world. We get into these chat rooms. We are so connected to everyone else. The angels really, truly can't connect with us as deeply. I am in psychic mediumship development classes now, and she's literally teaching me how to do automatic writing, there's a book called How to Talk to Angels. She's the author of a book, Angel Guidance. Like the movie Life with Ghosts is a documentary. I forgot to say that on your show the other night.
Yeah.
And literally talks all about automatic writing. When I went into the ayahuasca retreats, the Native Americans in Albuquerque, New Mexico, actually taught me how to just be still and receive the journey. Stop talking. And there's a very huge imbalance of the throat chakra going on. People are lonely and afraid to be alone. They cannot sit with themselves and just do breath work and be quiet and just receive the answers. Like Lucky Stone was talking about the other night, just meditating. How many people can just be still and be quiet and let the answers come to you in your mind, in your mind's eye, through the things she said about how to align with your angels? One, set your intention, because the new moon is about setting intentions, and speak to your angels. I wish to go to the highest plane possible and speak with my guardian angels and guides in spirit. 2, ask your question or state your request. Whatever you are trying to teach me, whatever you are teaching me, help me to learn it. So then we have to be open to receive the answers. And then 3 is be open and aware, as the answers usually come immediately. And our spirit guides want to speak to us directly. They don't want to go through people. But we have to listen. And it's absolutely rude to ask anyone questions and then not listen, right? How rude do you think it is if I asked you questions and you're talking to me and I'm just typing in the chat room, not listening? I became aware of how often I was reading books, and I've seen it happen in your chat room, and people are just chatting away about nothing that relates to anything you are reading a book about or talking about. You're hosting a spot for people to chat while you read a book and they're not even listening.
Yeah, in some ways, yes. I pulled up this thing, The Life with Ghosts. Okay. And I know you're going to be not a moderator. You're going to be a host.
Yeah, I'm co-hosting with another with the film director. The researchers from the film are actually not going to be there, and that live questions and answers with the film director and another co-host is going to be Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that'd be 7 my time, 6 Mountain Time, and 5 o'clock Pacific Time. And it'll be on Zoom. I've got registration still.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Here's
Oh,
the.
you have it right there.
I got it right. I put it up. Hey, I'm not a slacker. I got it right up. We can put a link in the chat there for everybody to.
It's
check.
really a phenomenal movie. I watched it 3 times. You can see the short film for free, and it's actually it's $15 to watch the movie because it's not even in theaters yet. But I'm reading the book Induced After Death Communication, which talks about EMDR therapy, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And it actually helps us go in with what we're going to be able to see our loved ones through the EMDR therapy. They'll come through vision, clear voyance. It's clear audience when we hear, clairvoyance when we see, clear sentience in the feeling, and claircognizance is the imagining.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Lucky Stone said that about the 6-point of medicine wheel. He doesn't know he's not a Hopi.
I text my Wapanango friend about 6-point medicine wheel. He wrote back, I don't know. I'm not. Oh, maybe it's a Hopi thing. I'm going to have to Google this now. Let's see. Well, that's the thing. See, at least he put us on the right track. I got the.
Because they taught me the circle represents the sacred outer boundary of the earth. Lakota medicine wheel is different. A Hopi wheel has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 pieces. Oh, dear stars in heaven. See, they had different. When I was at the ayahuasca ceremony, they prayed to the east.
Yeah.
And the sun and new beginnings, and I think it was fire, and they were Navajo.
Well, I typed it in, and all I'm getting is a 4. Everything is a 4 medicine. Here's a medicine wheel. 4, 4, 4. I don't see a 6. Well, this is interesting. It's a 4, a 4, and a 4.
Oh, that's a Hope wheel, not the Hopi wheel.
No, I typed in the Hopi medicine wheel. If that's walking, I think this is what David was talking about. One in your yard, having a medicine wheel in your yard.
Yes.
Thing. In a garden, that would be kind of cool. Is having a medicine wheel garden.
Yeah, but
yeah,
sections.
Oh, here's one. This one's got a lot of them too. Medicine wheel has sacred teachings. Okay. Well, this one's closer, but this has got more points on it.
Oh. Well, that's the 7 directions are east, south, west, north, down, up, and center.
Huh. Medicine wheel. Well, maybe it's in astrology. Nope. Well, here's a medicine. Well, that's an old one. Look at that. I don't know where that is. Bighorn medicine wheel, Native American medicine. Maybe it's a Lakota thing. See, they got more spots on theirs, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Medicine wheel, sacred hoops of indigenous Americans. Well, I don't know where it is though. Huh. Well, I am on a path to figure this out. Sacred hoops doesn't say where this one is either.
This says Adam calendar a South Africa.
Oh.
Estonia. Goodness.
Yeah, but if it's South Africa, that wouldn't be, Native American. So, maybe they got their own there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was
You
just
know,
looking at different pictures here.
yeah. Well,
Look, exactly like what you're doing just on my screen.
yeah. Well, if you see something, you can share screen too. I can stop sharing, let you share too. I mean, I'm not a hog here.
No, it's fine. I'm just looking to see if anything stands out to me.
Well, this one here is the one that says Bighorn Medicine Wheel, the United States Sacred Land. This is Bighorn Medicine Wheel. I'd like to go there. I ain't that far away from the Bighorn.
And we are actually in the year of 7, so it's not even just the 4 directions. My friend Hawk is a Cherokee, and he's learning the Talgasi, Tsalgi language. I might have just chopped that up, but he has no one to practice it with. He's in Connecticut, and he is straight up Cherokee. He actually is sending me a book 4, which is, what is his name? Darn it. Aleister Crowley.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of
Yeah,
Aleister.
he's sending me, because he's a magician. He's been studying the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life and the Tarot for like 50 years. He's the one who told me that Tarot is being used very improperly.
Okay. Okay. Here, I can't really blow this up very good, but this one here it's pointing to the summer this is probably where we're messing up. They didn't do northeast, southwest. It's summer solstice, Adrenian rises, summer solstice sunrise, spring rises, and I can't see what that is. Something. The Phaunonaut and Sirius, Rigel. It's pointing to stars. See, that's where we're wrong. See, because we were thinking it points to the northeast, southwest, but they're pointing to stars and the solstice, which I suppose that makes a lot more sense if you're a Native American. Who cares about what you don't have a compass?
Yeah.
So if you don't have a compass, what is your biggest thing that you're going to be looking for? You're going to be looking at where the sun rises.
That's where all the wise men looked up to the stars. That's how Jesus's people went around.
Yeah, you're going to look up at the stars. You're going to look up at the where the sun rises and sets. You're going to look at when spring, because those are the things that are going to be important. When is it spring? When is it good time to go hunt the buffalo? When is it time to get ready for winter? Let's put up the teepee. Let's go to our winter camp. Those are the things that would be important to someone, back in the day. Not is that north, east, and that is south? Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, so what? I don't have a compass.
I don't think that's divided as a medicine wheel. I have a feeling that's not what that means. Even though it says a medicine wheel on it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that you're right. There's a star in the middle connecting those points on that one, on the Iroquois prophecy one.
Yeah, see, that from right here. If you're in the center, okay, this is us in the center, and everywhere you look is a star, see? And I suppose each one of those spokes is something else, but we just don't know what they mean because somebody forgot.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Somebody has figured this out, some of the pieces, but I bet you it's pointing the stars. It's like who said here? Scotty Boy. Scotty Boy says it's a sundial, but it's really not a sundial. It's more of a seasons dial. Like, hey, when you're standing on the head of it and you can see the star pointing in this direction, it's time to, pick the berries. When you stand this way and you can see this star, then it's time to go hunt the buffalo. When
Yeah.
you ascend this way, it's time to gather firewood or whatever, because those are the important things for you to do.
Yes.
That's gotta be what I mean. That's my interpretation of it, people.
Yeah. And with this Heather Dane medicine wheel
Yes.
actually is meant for healing. They do that a lot with the healing because you need to go back. I actually took the ayahuasca vines of the yellow vine, and we prayed
Yep.
to the direction of east first, and then I drank the red vine second.
Mhm.
So we prayed to the east, yellow, new beginnings, where the sun rises first.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it made it's different in different cultures because when I'm learning the Wiccan tradition, you start with east air.
Mm-hmm.
And then on different ones, it would start. That Heather Dane one I was just looking at.
Yep.
East is mental, third chakra, spring, child, rebirth, self-esteem, self-love, healing. But it doesn't even say the element there. I'm trying to see what the Naho medicine wheel was because it seems like I was taught something different, and that's where it starts confusing me.
Yes. Anyway, Scotty Boy says, do you know 2 o'clock is not the same as 2 o'clock in October as it is in April? Yeah, because of the time change. Anyway, Scotty Boy, you missed David was here. He's saying that, is David all right? And I says, yeah, you missed him. He was here earlier. Go back and do the rewatch. He came to us to visit from his hospital bed. Talk about dedicated.
Yes, he did.
Yes. But anyway, I like the medicine wheel. I'm going to have to study up on it a little more. We'll try to figure it out. But I think we hit on something really good. That it is, a directional finder for what you need to do, or maybe it's it's got to be something on that order, like Scotty said, it's a sundial for seasons. I would think.
Actually, you know what? Over at my park, there's medicine over at the park I go to all the time.
Yeah.
And it's in 4 sections, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
And each one is labeled, one's medicinal, one's silver, one's teas, and one is something else. And there's a sundial in the middle of it. So that, I bet, I just Googled medicine wheel garden. And cool maps with that. So we're onto something here.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, what would it be if we didn't have a story for tonight? Because we always got to have a story, and then we pull a card. And while I'm telling the story, because we got to do a legend here, or myth, or whatever, in honor of Hawkeye, because he would tell the story. But we need somebody to pull a card. Heather, I'd be honored if you'd pull a card for us after I get done with the story. So while I'm doing the story, you find a deck of cards or something. I don't know if you got a Native American one, but you do. Good deal. Okay. You pull, I will do the story. And here we go. As soon as it pops up here, I will have it. Okay, here we go. We're going to do a Thunderbird tonight. And I thought, I've been wanting to do Thunderbird for a long time. I've been studying, but there really ain't much to them. But here's a short story about the Wananago who saved his tribe from the Thunderbird. Okay. Before the time of airships, the only things that could fly in the air were the birds of the clouds. So, you see, it is natural that the red men should believe the clouds were some huge kind of bird, and that the black storm clouds were the thunderbirds. The flap of those wings made the thunder. The zigzag lightning, darting swiftly across the sky, traveled like a snake. So they thought the lightning was a serpent. Some of the red men say that the lightning is a flash of the thunderbird's eyes. Some say that it comes when he runs out his forked tongue. Before I tell you about Watango, I want to tell you what some of the different tribes say about the thunder and lightning. The Batak, the thunder who makes the loud crashes, lives in the high mountain with his sister and his father. He married a woman who bore a son. The grandfather fastened wings to his little lad, and then on them he makes the distant rolling thunder, which greatly pleases the old man. Once, during a flood, the thunder and lightning man parted from his sister, telling her she never again would see him, but she would hear his voice. He clothed himself in the skin of a great bird and flew away to the southwest. She never seen him since, but whenever the tempest sweeps over the land, the lightning of his eyes gleams down upon her, and the thunder of his voice re-echoes among the mountain peaks. The thunderbird eats serpents, snatching them up from the ground, setting fire to the trees, and killing people as he does so. He brings home for food the people he has killed by lightning. The Chippewas of Wisconsin say the thunderbird is a god from the form of an eagle. It feeds on serpents and lives in the mountain, where it lays eggs and hatches its young. An Indian once climbed to its nest and found the bones of serpents scattered about. Another time, a party of Indians found a thunderbird's nest on a plain and killed the young birds. Then the old birds returned and killed all but one Indian. Thunder Bay in Michigan was given that name because of the Potawatomis found a nest of young thunderbirds on a high peak on the shore of the bay. Near Big Stone Lake in Dakota, there was a thunderbird's nest, and some of the eggs are still left there in the form of round stones. Long, rolling thunder is heard when the Thunder Boys are playing ball. A thunderbird once alighted beside the upper Red River, and the grass was burned off in the form of a big bird with outstretched wings. A hunter wounded a bird, which he supposed was an eagle. It was so fierce that he was afraid to attack it alone, so he went for help. When the party drew near the spot, they heard thunder rolling and saw flashes of lightning shooting out of the vein where the wounded bird lay. The lightning blinded them so that they could not see the bird, and a flash killed the hunter. The frightened Indians fled back to camp, for they knew then that it was the thunderbird. Long ago, I messed that one up. Yeah, I turned the page too fast. What's the matter with me? How did I do that? I read that too fast, and now I lost the whole thing. Ain't that terrible? Oh man, how did I ruined it? What did I do here? I lost the whole page. Stupid computers. I don't know what I did. It was way down here, and now it's way up there. Oh, geez. We broke. Man who saved his tribe from the Thunderbird. There we go. I'm back. Now if I can only keep it there. Okay, the Thunderbird once a line beside the upper river. The hunter wounded the bird. Blah blah blah. Long ago, there were many giant. Okay, a hunter wounded the bird, and he was supposed to be an eagle. Okay, I read that part. Long ago, there were many giant eagles and the Thunderbirds in the mountains along the Yukon River, but they all disappeared except for one pair, which made their home in the top of a mountain near Sentabowski. It sounds Polish. From this peak, they soared about in the sky like clouds and swooped down, carrying off reindeer and even fishermen and their canoes to the nests of their young. Many thousand moons ago, two monsters lived in the caves of the Pisa Bluffs near Elton, Illinois. Hey, that's your area. They had wings like an eagle's, only much larger, and claws like an alligator's. Their eyes were red, and they had beards like a tiger, horns like a deer, and faces like a man. They had tails like a serpent, and so long that they bent forward over their heads and around and under their legs. The voice of one was like a roar of a buffalo bull, and the other like the scream of a panther. These dreadful creatures spent their time dozing on the rocks or flying over the country. They swooped down and carried off young elk and deer to their cave in the rocks, where they devour their prey at their leisure. But they never troubled the Indians until one day when the Miamis and the Mesachemagams was fighting each other in the gorge of the Pisa Creek. Then, in the midst of the battle, just when the Metachamagans were almost beaten and were about to run off for their lives, these two monsters came flying down the gorge, uttering bellows and shrieks like so many thunderclaps. They flew over the heads of the fighters, and each monster picked up a Miami chieftain and carried him off. The terrified Miamis, so that they could no longer fight, they fled from the gorge, pursued by the whooping Mesagamagants, and dared not to stop until they had crossed the Wabash River. The victorious Megamagats thought the Great Spirit had sent the monsters to aid them against their enemies, and to celebrate their triumph, they cut the fingers of two Thunderbirds in the cliffs where the battle had taken place, and the figures and the two live eagles were still there when Father Marquette went down the Mississippi in 1673. But the dreadful Thunderbirds did not leave the Miamis in peace. Even after helping to defeat them so badly, the monsters seemed to have found out that they could carry off human beings. And after that, from time to time, they came down and seized other braves, squaws, and I lost that. And that's it, I guess. The Eagles and Yukon. I hate this thing. The river, but they disappeared except for one pair, which made their home on the top of a mountain. From this peak, they soared about in the sky like clouds and swooped down, carrying off rain. Oh, I read that part. This thing is really touchy. They go really slow. I guess that's where the picture came in. Flying directly for papooses. The women were all the time wailing over the loss of their babies, and the whole tribe lived in constant terror. The trouble became so great that the Wantego and the chieftain said, "My people can no longer endure this. I have a scheme for ridding us of those dreadful Thunderbirds. When the next storm gathers, 20 of you can pull the strongest bows, are to hide yourselves in the bushes. I will stand out on the plain sight of the monsters, and they will swoop down upon me. You are to send your arrows into them." "No, no," they cried. "We cannot do that. we might hit you. We cannot kill our chief. I would gladly die to save my people. The birds will soon carry off all of you, and I do not wish to be chief without a tribe. You are to do as I say." The warriors dare not disobey, but they muttered their disapproval. When the storm came, Wantego stood out in the full view of the cliff to tempt the birds, and presently they came flying directly toward him, black and horrible, eager to pounce upon their victim. When they came over his head and were ready to fall upon him, twang, 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 and they were pierced to the heart by the arrows of the 20 concealed warriors. The terrible were the shrieks, the bellowings of the wounded thunderbirds as they plunged and staggered onward in their dying agony. But the last of their moaning was drowned in the glad shouts of the Miamis, for they stood their brave chieftain alive and unhurt. Not an arrow had touched him. Ta-da! There we go. Not quite as good as David Null, but I try my hardest. And that is a bit from about the Thunderbirds.
Good job.
So, do you know? Have you ever heard of those cliffs and the bluffs in that
No,
area?
that's actually Alton, Illinois, which is down by St. Louis. That was funny. Illinois was in there. And the
Yeah.
S silent on that Illinois too. There is no noise in Illinois. Everybody always calls it Illinois.
Yeah, I know. When you live in Illinois, you call it Illinois. I was from Wisconsin. We call it Illinois. You know, those Illinois
Call
people.
it the Fighting Illini. We used to have a chief. My dad actually works at the University of Illinois. But it's actually Illini in the Native American pronunciation. The I's are like E's, kind of like in Spanish.
Oh.
CSIC means yes.
So the European people, they ruined it. Oh boy. Yep. Okay, well.
Talking about taking action, and that's he said he can keep quiet no more. So I was actually responding to. He said we sit idly and watch it play out. I said, yeah, we sit and talk in chats. We talk about everything that needs changed, but we don't do anything about it, Scotty. You're right.
And that's the thing. Take action. I took action. Remember the other day we were talking about that?
Yeah.
Did you get your package yet?
No, and I actually got yours sent out. I got an Oracle deck, and there's even a surprise in there. There's an Oracle deck and a tarot deck.
Nice. Because what was it? So I sent one up to Grandpa Brian, and he got his already, and he lives in Indiana. So I was really surprised you didn't get yours yet. So keep an eye open for it. You should get it soon. He got his yesterday, and I don't know. Anyway, so boxes are coming.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I keep kind of laughing. I was talking about your flashlight addiction.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like, but you inspired me to do that. I'm like, well, I got all these flashlights. I am going to send them out to people. I need to get rid of some, I mean, not that they're broken or anything. They all work.
Yeah.
It's just that you're right. It's time to let go. Maybe it's time to let go. I got too many. I got to let go. Maybe I got a habit or addiction to it, and it feels good. And I'm making people happy. It feels good. And I'm thinking, I don't know, it felt good to have those things, but it feels really good to give them away. And so it's happiness on both ends. So
yep.
I thank you for that.
You're welcome, because here's the thing about, like, right now we're actually in the dark moon phase right this very moment, because the new moon is at hold on, I flipped my page for my calendar because I was looking at retrograde planets and stuff. The new moon is at 4:38 Central Standard Time in the morning. Tomorrow morning at 4:38 a.m. is when the new moon will be at its peak at 4 degrees Leo. I actually just posted that over on Instagram, but I didn't post it on YouTube yet. And the whole list. And so I did a dark moon reading, which is a shadow work. I have so many oracle cards because I do shadow work readings. And then I also have like some Halloween ones, which are seasonal. So they do collect dust most of the year around because I only use them at Halloween time. And then we set our intentions. Like today I was called to get out the chakra oracles and go through some chakras. And it was talking about staying grounded because we have so much in the fire energy right now. Like I was alive today for over 4 hours doing the new moon reading, part 1. And that's just part 1.
Yeah. Wow.
About the energy that's coming through. So from the full moon, we have 2 full moons this month, August 1st and August 30th. Our super full moons. So it's been a very, very powerful time of releasing. Like I haven't been on YouTube like all day. I've actually been on your channel more than I've been on YouTube at all this past 7 days. And I've been running. I have like set my intentions even for the last new moon. And the full moon, I'm releasing. I went through my closets and got a whole garbage bag full of clothes, got rid of some shoes, and got one pair that I really wanted. I got rid of a lot of things that I don't use, that I haven't been. And so it's not like it does feel really good, especially to give it to somebody who could use it. When we end up start collecting things and we realize, we need to part with some of this. Like on the full moon, I always talk about going through our things, getting rid of, it could be books, clothes, shoes, anything you can clean out your drawers, clean out your drawers in your bathroom, get rid of hygiene products, throw things away. I actually shredded a bunch of old medical bills of my daughters that were packed in a box. I've gone through my filing cabinets. While I'm not using my hands in chat rooms all the time, I'm actually doing stuff. And so I have gotten rid of, because I'm actually planning on getting my license. I'm starting yoga teacher training in January.
Oh.
To be a yoga teacher trainer, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm clearing out all of the old, cleaning, getting rid of to make space for the new. And my
that's really good.
Rid of a lot of her things.
But yeah,
telling me to let go of lots of people, places, behaviors, thoughts, patterns, habits, being in YouTube too much, and face a lot of things and deal with it and get rid of all the things. Face it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it's kind of like we were talking about with the people in chat. We'll be saying I know I put a lot of study to a program, or I research it and then I find a bunch of pictures so I got something to show, or for a presentation. I put a lot of effort into it. And then, I'm talking about this stuff and people are, like you said, they're talking about, how was your day? Oh no, yeah, this is good. And blah, 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 blah. And that's fine. Chat rooms are for that. But, like you said, you're doing all this work and, you did the work. You're hoping to help somebody, but nobody's doing the work. I mean, nobody's doing the work. Now, see, you're showing the good example. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do these things. And you're actually doing this stuff, which is awesome because it's inspiring, because that rubs off on other people, I think. I mean, it rubbed off on me. I appreciate you because, you're saying, hey, I'm going to do these things. And I'm thinking, if you can do them, I can do them. And I'm trying to do stuff. So, maybe it starts with giving away some of my vast quantity of flashlights. Then maybe it starts with maybe organizing my terribly messy house, or maybe doing a little extra, exercise or whatever, because, I was thinking about the other day, I got to start eating a little bit better, or maybe I got to do this. Not that I don't eat good now, but I mean, maybe I gotta look at my health a little better. Maybe I started slacking. Maybe and that's the thing too, is you attract what you are, or what if you're a good person, you're going to attract good people around you. You can also attract people who want to take advantage of you, but your like attracts like, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
and Mars is the planet of action. Not only my daughter left this world on 9/9/2020, she transitioned. Her spirit left her body right here on the floor. She didn't even take her body with her. And so that was Mars retrograde. There are many messages behind that. She even had picked out a Life on Mars tapestry that's on my wall. And so these are signs that were right in front of my face. That if I wasn't being distracted by all this interference from humans, prior to putting this Native American shirt on, I had a new alien shirt and it says "Beware of Humans" on it, on the alien's head. And people don't realize what they're doing, but there is so much chaos in this world that it's interference from messages from spirit. Literally, there is so much chaos and action and drama going on. It's almost like it's never ending. I finally had to stop holding a space to do a community check-in because I came on my channel with messages. I'm actually not the place where people can dump all their problems. Actually, I'm not a therapist at all. I'm not a licensed therapist. It's in my about section, my description box, and my intro now. So if people have a crisis, they can call 988 here in America for Lifeline. And then I can actually read my oracle cards or read my article that I came live to read. Like I will come read like you did. And so you are much better than I at reading what you came to do and not reading your chat. I give you props because I'm learning from you. As I've just got to ignore it because people are constantly coming in with almost every time I go live, people need prayers. There's a crisis. And people are looking for outside comfort, community, connection, bonding, love, support, constant reassurance from someone outside of them. And I'm actually trying to read oracle cards, and it's become very distracting. I barely go live that much anymore, like once or twice a week.
Well, see, this is the thing I learned from doing the show, studying the Indians and stuff, especially. And I can see that in our society. And I'll tell you a couple things. So the Indians, back before the white man came, had a real close-knit society. They lived in a long house with their mothers, their fathers, their cousins, their aunts, their uncles. The whole bunch of them lived together. You want to go talk to your uncle? He's just right over there. He lives with us in the longhouse. You may have a buffalo robe separating, mom and dad from the two kids. And then there's another buffalo robe separating, them from the other aunt and uncle over there, and their two kids. But everybody plays together. And it, according to what I read, that, and I read it several times, that, all the mothers were mother. It wasn't, that is my mother, but these are all my mothers. They all take care of me. These are all my fathers. They're all my teachers, and I can learn from all of them. And they had a real close-knit family, which is good. Okay, now stay with me here. I'm trying to get somewhere with all this. When the white man came in, when they destroyed the villages, they took the children. Even when Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea, what happened to Sacagawea's son?
No, not up.
Well, somewhere she sent him off, or was it Lewis? Maybe it was Clark. Clark took the child and took him back to somewhere to get him educated, taking him away from his mother and his close-knit family. See, and when the tribes would get conquered or whatever and get on the reservations, what did they do? Well, they, taught them Christianity. They cut their hair. They put, different clothes on them. They put them in the houses, separated the families, said, here's your plot of land and your plot of land and your plot of land. You live there, you live there, you live there. A couple episodes ago, I talked about how their names and stuff, and the agencies didn't like that. Well, your name is such and such. We're giving you an American name. We're giving you a number and a name, and you're going to go by this number and name. And after a few generations, they went by those names, and separating them more.
Yeah.
And little by little. Okay, so you see the pattern there. And then by doing that, they lost their traditions. They lost their way of life. Everything about them changed. They went from being this close-knit family to these separate entities. Now, let's fast forward to today and look at our own lives. And you were talking about how people are looking for friendship and all this, and they come in the chat and they, chit-chat amongst each other. Well, why is that? Because we are just like them, and the powers that be have kind of separated us. Here, you live there, you live there. Do you know your neighbors across the street? Nope. Do you know your neighbors down the hall? Do you know anybody in your neighborhood, really? Do you know anybody? How many friends do you have? So you reach out, and they've created these spaces. Now the controllers, the powers that be, said, in order to separate everybody, we'll build a community online. And now you talk to people across the world. It sounds like a great thing. You're talking to people in every country or different states. But you know what? When you want to meet your friend or have a get together or have that human interaction, you can't. The closest you get is getting into a chat room, texting, emailing, whatever, sending emojis over the phone, whatever, but you're not having that human interaction.
Exactly.
And now we are them. Now they can program us with whatever they want, and we're going to be just like those Indians and accept it and go, well, I guess so. I don't have my neighbor to talk to. I don't have any friends. It seems like I got on the internet, and it seems like that's what's going on. That's what all the cool kids want to do. So I guess it must be true. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
We become them.
Devices are actually makes it easy to communicate, right?
Yes.
It still is not making us a community, like truly in human form. We are still separated. Actually, my mom and dad have been downstairs all night, and I have not talked to them.
Yeah. But here's, exactly. But you've talked to all these other people, and in your own home, and you haven't left your room even. Isn't it amazing? But that's what I'm saying is you've created this community. But you don't have that human interaction, that closeness, and at some point or another, do us humans need that? And what are we going to suffer by? I mean, and besides that, here's one more point. When you are on the computer or you're texting, you're on Facebook, whatever, do you act a little different than you would if you were in person?
I'm pretty raw and real all the time. I have like very little filter. I might behave a little bit on someone else's channel. I do drop F-bombs frequently here in my world. It's one of my favorite effing words. But I have to I have to tone it down a little bit when I'm in public on other people's channels. And I do have younger viewers on my channel, so I try to simmer down a little bit. But I'm pretty raw and real.
Mhm.
And the big thing is because like you were talking about in the Native American in the longhouses,
Mhm.
that the
Mhm.
communities were so knit close. Families are divided. Like my dad is down there staring at the television. My
Mhm.
mom is probably he's staring at the television and his iPad
Yeah.
simultaneously.
Yeah.
He's up, down, playing a farm game. He's building a virtual town while
Mhm.
I'm trying to build a real farm out, a real garden outside. And they're not helping me because they're too busy on their virtual worlds. And it's actually very frustrating. I am
Mhm.
so beyond frustrated. I almost want to scream inside because people are building these fake cities and so worried about YouTube and other things that we're not in the real world. We are
Mhm.
disconnected from our families. Husbands and wives are sitting in different rooms staring at devices. One staring at their phone in a chat room and one staring at the television watching news or Netflix or whatever. It's divided and the children are staring at televisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's mind control on a whole nother level, and people are in
Mhm.
utter denial about it.
Yes.
And they get when I speak up about it.
Mhm. Oh,
And
I totally agree with that, and it's you're totally right. And the thing is, um, what is our society gonna become in the next 20 years if we keep doing this?
exactly. What's
You
going to
know?
happen to the behavior of the children? They're
Yeah.
already blowing up schools. Behavioral disorders are off the charts. And people won't go get mental health help, but they'll go to a regular doctor and get the kids put on medication
Yeah. Well,
because
and
behaving.
I
Why? They want attention. They want emotional connection with their parents. I know for a fact that's exactly what I talk to my mom about a lot.
Mhm.
I told her, you guys are not emotionally supportive. We have no emotional connection. My
Yeah.
own mother doesn't even hug me
Yeah.
after my daughter passed away. And they're all smoking and drinking, like they're completely disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dissociated from self, feelings, and each other.
Yeah.
A virtual world, living on Facebook. My
Yeah.
mom. And
Mhm. Yeah, right in your own family it's happening.
I know.
And
I've been
and back in the day, I got two things to bring up, and you're gonna kind of agree with this, I bet you for sure. Is back in the day, families didn't they had they didn't we had three channels. You remember that the three channels. If you got any of the channels at all, and you didn't watch TV all the time, you got one program here or there that if you were lucky, and then a lot of times you would play family games. I remember when I was a kid, we would play, cards, or we would play some kind of board game, where the family sat down and actually played. You'd play with your sisters or brothers or whatever you had, or your friends would come over and you would do things outside and things like that. And now who does those things? Who plays these board games? Board games are just a way for the family to get together for something to do, and then you interact. You sit down for supper with everybody. Now it's TV dinners, or I got something at the the cafe on the corner of the stand, and I ate it on. I got Subway. I had a Subway saying I don't need to sit down and eat. I mean, pop it in the microwave and go watch some more TV. Not saying that put the TV away, and I know there's a lot of people here that don't watch the TV, but there's so many other people out there that do. That's the bad part. Now, the second part is you were talking about the drugs and the mental stuff. And I told my buddy the other day, if anything would ever happen, you have to worry more about your neighbors. And why is that? Because I says, you don't see any mental hospitals anymore. there used to be when we were growing up, or before we grew up, there was mental hospitals for people who had problems. Now, not to say that they couldn't be fixed, but they did. They fixed them with drugs. So now they don't have mental hospitals. They just give you some drugs, send you home. And like you said, everybody's on some kind of depressant or stimulant or whatever they're on. What happens when the day comes when these people can't? Well, Hawkeye's a good example. You don't get the right medication, your whole body goes wonky and you could almost die. But on the mental thing, if we just took all of those people off of those drugs, what would happen to our society?
They would go crazy. First of all, I know all about withdrawals. I'm in addiction recovery. Like for 2 decades, I've been in and out of treatment centers. I've got 8 years, no opiates, 3 years, no alcohol. And they would go through withdrawals, and there's even post-acute withdrawal symptoms. These days, kids are on methamphetamines. Adderall, Ritalin, Concerta are all stimulants for kids with ADD.
Mm-hmm.
ADD in this book, The Body Keeps the Score, this psychiatrist has brought it all down to trauma of some way. Unhealed trauma, attention disorders, trauma, behavioral disorders, trauma, and foods that they're eating. And, actually a tornado took out a Pfizer plant in North Carolina not long ago.
Yep.
And it was either North or South Carolina. And I actually have been kind of praying that these pharmaceutical companies might go down. So people better make some other choices. They better learn some healthier drug-free ways, because the drug companies are getting rich on everybody's sickness. And people need to find, like, the medicine wheel is a guide to healing. The reason the Native Americans did those shamanic retreats and give ayahuasca is to actually treat it, not suppress it, to bring up the trauma and heal it, not shove it down. When our body is in pain, when we're experiencing anxiety and depression, it is a signal for us to make a change. Not pop pills, not pop things and make it go away, but like literally headaches. Say, body, what are you trying to teach me? What do I need to change in my life? Mm-hmm. Do I have too much stress in my life? Do I need to set some boundaries? Do I need to cut some people out of my life that are draining me?
Yeah.
And you know what? At the moment I start asking myself and praying over myself, and not asking anyone else to pray for me, my spirit guides to give me answers. I have to take action. I have to make changes. Not ask for everyone else to pray or do the work. There's actually a book that talks about pharmaceuticals called Prozac Nation. We are in a quick fix society where people just want to smoke it all away, drink it all away, piss it all away, stay in chat rooms all day and avoid doing the stuff. Like you said, thank you for helping me be aware of some flashlights and facing the things, not running from it. That is where the shamanic societies really brought healing, because they pull the stuff out of you. You get to the root and the source of the problem, and then you don't need to be smoking weed all day. Because you're healed. I've tried to tell everybody that those Native Americans I went and saw and went to 2 ayahuasca retreats, the red vine, the yellow vine, and then the red vine. They did not smoke weed all day. They don't smoke. You know why? Because they don't need to.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And what with the ayahuasca, people think, oh, the smoking and da 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 da. No, it's a ceremony, and you're guided, and that's the difference between the guy who just sits around and smokes pot or something or whatever because he just wants to zap himself out of this world. I don't care about nothing, all my pain's gone away. But the pain is there for a reason, because it's telling your body's telling you there's something wrong with that, whatever, your arm, your joint, or your head, or whatever. There's something wrong. You need to fix something. And most people want to fix it with a pill that covers it up. And hey, it feels better. Great. And sometimes you need to. But just like you were saying, the ADHD and all the kids and stuff, they go in. How hard is it for a kid to get diagnosed with some kind of trauma, some kind of, disorder, and get some drugs?
It's,
Do you know?
That's exactly what my daughter passed away from: heroin, opiates laced with fentanyl.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is kids get, can get, but then if you're a kid and you get diagnosed with some of this stuff and your parents give it to you, instead of saying you just need to study a little harder, maybe you better not watch so much TV, maybe you better eat a little bit better, stop eating the Twinkies and the ho-hos, and maybe you should exercise a little, and maybe your grades will improve and your attention span will be better if you're not all jacked up on, sugar.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not telling anybody how to run their kid's life, but doesn't it make more sense to do that than, because what happens is I believe, I'm not, that if you're a kid and you get all these drugs from, say when you're 10 to the time you're 18, don't you think you're going to be addicted when you get out of school to drugs?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, the thing is, people don't even realize what all of this sugar is. Okay, kids who eat Fruity Pebbles and gosh darn it, Captain Crunch and all that sugary Fruit Loops, and then they go to school and the teachers say, this kid can't pay attention in school. He's always disruptive. She's always talking. She's interrupting and passing notes. Well, she's jacked up on sugar. And then you go want her to sit down and pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then later down the line, people don't even realize what, if you go to the doctors and get a child who's got ADD and attention problems, go put him on a stimulant like Ritalin. Do people understand what this is doing to the child's brain? They're innocent little children. They're still developing. Mm-hmm. What are you doing to their brain?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing to their brain? People don't even know what are in those pharmaceuticals, in the fillers and everything. Mm-hmm. Testosterone hormone replacement therapy made my daughter freaking insane. And then they give her all these pharmaceuticals at the psych ward to try to level it out.
Yeah.
And now she's left this world. And I have a lot of very conflicting feelings about that, because they shouldn't have been trying to counteract testosterone. Like I've said before, I think these doctors need their licenses shaken off the wall, bring an earthquake or something, wake people up. I don't know what it's going to take.
Well, the funny part is you were made with this body. You were made to intake food, plants, meat for protein or whatever you can, not drugs, and which are made out of, what are most drugs made out of?
Chemicals.
Yeah, what are kind of chemicals?
Harmful chemicals.
Okay, I'm gonna do
like fentanyl. Fentanyl is a chemically processed thing that is made in a laboratory.
Yes. Okay, so boil it down a little bit more. Most drugs are made out of petroleum products.
Yes.
Okay, so if you go to the gas pump, are you going to just, I need some drugs and drink some gas?
No.
Maybe you just, I just got that jug of oil sitting out there. I'm going to jug a little of that and it'll be all good. I don't need that. No, but they chemically manipulate it, put some stuff in there, and then say, here, this is good for you. Take it. And you do. Of course, it's going to make you nuts. It's petroleum. You're not supposed to eat petroleum. It's bad for you. See, and this, oh yeah. Okay. I'm off the mark. Okay. Robert, you're so far off the mark. Yeah, I know. I don't know how we got talking about Indian stuff and then
I don't
talking
know.
drugs, but anyway, we are not. Yes. No. Oh, we are not the body. Okay. Sorry. He says we are not the body. I agree with that. We're not the body. But the body that we're in, we need to take care of.
Absolutely.
And this is my vehicle. And that's one thing okay, let's get back on track. The Indians were conscious about their body, their vehicle. They ate plants, they ate the things of the earth, they took care of their body. And in that way, I want to take care of the body, even though I know that it's only here for a temporary part of the time. But while I'm here, I want it to be in good working order, like my car, And he also says, thank you, Scotty boy, for getting me back on track. But he says we are all levels of soul growth. Yes, but in order for me to grow, my body needs to be in good working order, because when it's not, or I get all messed up, then I might not be here anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. I've said my part. Heather, start doing the cards, because we before we get way too far off.
I got out the mystical shaman. The mystical shaman and the native spirit. Those are my two native teaching decks. And actually, two came out while you were doing your teaching, your myth and legend about the Thunderbird, while I was shuffling the mystical shaman. And I might put those over on the community tab. But right now, the Vision Quest came out. And actually, that is one of the... I've been asking my daughter to repeat the cards, because she had me draw her cards right before she left for the spirit world. And I'm telling you, if I wouldn't have gone to that ayahuasca retreat and they wouldn't have prepped me for connecting to the spirit world right a few years before my daughter crossed over, I'd probably be in a world of mess right now. Great Spirit knew exactly to place me everywhere I needed to go to prepare me. And this was one of the cards that my daughter had come out, a Vision Quest. Whoops. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it's like the mountain and the sun. It says the Sacred Seeker card meaning is the Sacred Seeker. Take time away from people and situations. Thank you, Spirit. Good message. Step back. Withdraw. Inner truth is emerging in stillness. But first, you need to retreat. Know that you're guided. Look for your answers in different ways. The answers are around you. Watch for signs in the coming day. Trust that your life is being directed. Your native spirit wants you to know, in earth-based cultures, larger questions about life are often answered on vision quests or solo retreats in nature. Questions such as, who am I? What am I meant to do with my life? And what is my mission and my purpose in life? Were often answered on quests of various kinds. Even if you don't have burning questions, when this card chooses you, it's telling you to take time away from your ordinary life. Take time to explore the depths of your soul. Your soul knows the truth. Ooh, we were just talking about truth. Take time in quietude to discover what it is. The answers to your questions are all around you, but you must be still to hear these messages. Dang, this is a big sync for what we talked about. The journey says spend time alone, preferably in nature without your cell phone and the internet, and even without pencil and paper or a book. Simply be. Listen to the world around you. Be still. Watch for signs. Open your heart to receive messages from the divine. That's it for that card.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
That was
Very
a
good.
powerful message.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
The answers are inside of you. We all can say that all day and all night. What you seek, what all the answers, everything you need is within you. And yet we're still running around looking for answers outside of us.
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's the thing is, you know, because we're in the physical world, we want a physical answer.
Yes.
Is that you know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of us go wrong is we're, you know, when I say, well, look inside of you for the answer.
Yeah.
People think, oh, they don't realize that we're this light body inside here, you know, and that's the problem. It's like, wow, you know, the this is up and this is down. This is a bottle, you know, but what's inside the bottle? That's, you know, what's in here. You know, you can't see what's in here. It's all clear. And so, well, I see nothing, but my logic now that I'm older and smarter says what's in here, there's air in here. That's a substance. It's a gas. There's something in here. Even though I can't see it, I have to know that it's in here. And that's what I think people forget is that, you know, they
the being still and listening, like even with the automatic writing, I'm learning about channeling with automatic writing and just letting spirit lead my hand, getting out of my analytical mind that always wants to know everything. That's our masculine energy. That is us wanting to search for truth. That is us needing to know an answer. That is us needing to be logical and analytical. That's not our spirit working.
Yep.
So that was a perfect message for this, actually. And I am grateful. Thank you, Spirit.
Well, anyway, let's roll this up. It's been a good long night. I thank you for coming on. Yeah, and thank you to David Null. I hope that he is getting better and getting some rest. If you haven't seen that, he was on at the beginning of the show from his hospital bed. So if you missed that and you're joining us now, go back and watch the beginning. I hope I did the story justice, even though it screwed up on me. But anyhow, well, we are all remember. I hope we all learned something from this. If nothing else, remember the card, you know, and you're on a vision quest here, and look within. That's my thought, and I agree. I think we need to look within. The answers are inside us, and maybe if we stop to listen for a little bit longer, then and stop being so impulsive. I got to get it done. It's got to happen. It's got to be right away, right now. I want a cure today, and just be patient
and let it come to you. The trick is with spirit. The way I'm really learning, when I let go, everything comes to me. I don't have to chase it. And then I know exactly when to take action and when not to. Because our spirit guides and our ancestors love us so much more, and they will never ever fool us. They will not lie to us. They will not manipulate us. They do not have any excuses or runarounds or any of that. They love us so much, and they want to guide us to the right way. Humans, however, can fill our minds with so much. This is really what I talked about in my Leo New Moon reading, and it was very long, so it would need to be watched in sections. But I talked about how humans are operating from their analytical process, usually from their logical ego. our spirit guides answer us immediately if we're tuned in. So we just have to listen. They will never lead us astray. Hello, sweetheart.
Yeah. Speaking of, she was like, I'm needing attention. You've been on the thing too long.
Yep, she is.
Oh, yeah. So
So
anyway.
thank you, Robert, for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. And thank you. I think Scotty Boy has it topped out tonight with love is the first step to all answers. How wonderfully said is that?
Yep.
So, anyway, thank you, everybody. Remember, go out and do something nice for somebody else. Say hi to your neighbor. Get to know your community a little bit. You know, if nothing else, that's the first step too. You know, we live in the long house, but we don't know who's behind the buffalo robe next door to us. And remember, I'm going to try to go out and I'm going to do something for me, and I'm going to go camping. Hopefully Thursday night or Friday night. I'm not sure which, but it's going to be nice out. It's this new moon, so everything is going to be really dark. I'm going to be able to see the stars really good because out here in North Dakota, you can get to places where there is no light at all outside. Beautiful. No yard lights to shine on you. Anyway, probably no neighbors either. And probably have the whole campground to myself. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to bring the computer and the camera and all that good stuff out there and do a show live from some mountaintop in the middle of nowhere. If everything works out good and it doesn't rain like the last time it rained. But remember, everybody, go out, be the frequency you want to receive. Everyone, I love y'all. Peace, everybody.
Thank you all.